Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Business Whip. And for this episode, I have Mekaila here with me, my amazing assistant, to talk about how to prep your business with systems and good processes so that you and or your team, especially you as a CEO, can go on vacation and feel great about it and actually enjoy that vacation, right, Mekaila? There's a thing about taking vacation where just because you're there in the tropics or wherever you are or in the mountains, but if you're not fully present, it's not a vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you can't release that stress of being a business owner for that short amount of time that you actually get to get away.
Spoiler alert, to help you go on vacation and be fully present, it's all going to be in the planning. So we want you to plan now so that you can reap the benefits and rewards whenever your vacation happens. And I love that you're on this episode with me because even though we are a digital operations agency and we help put in these systems to allow our clients and CEOs to take vacations, it's going to be a really great conversation because as my assistant, you do a lot of the executing. Your top strength, in the Clifton strengths domain, is execution. And for me, it's my last. So I think it would be a really great conversation to just bounce back and forth between okay, if I have this idea or if this is what we need to take a vacation, and of course we're going to walk our listeners through everything, you're going to be able to talk about how things can actually get executed. So after listening to this episode, people can run with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so in this episode, we're going to talk about three topics to help you vacation proof your business so that you can go on vacation. And it doesn't have to be like an actual vacation. It could be like a day off, or maybe you're going on a 2-day business conference trip. We want you to be fully present in doing whatever it is you're doing outside of your business. So that's why we're just going to call it vacation proofing your business. And sometimes unexpectedly, things could happen. You might have to leave last minute to go take care of family across the country or whatnot. And preparing your business now so that you can take a vacation, whether it's planned or unexpected, it's going to be so freeing for everybody. And I want everybody to feel confident when somebody goes on vacation, that just because somebody goes on a vacation doesn't mean the business is going to crumble, right? That's a scary notion. Once you turn your head away and from your business, that can be scary for a lot of people. And I just don't think that we celebrate rest enough. So this episode is super important to us. Before we get started, I just wanted to prep you if you felt like taking notes or whatnot. Here are the three sections that we want to cover today. Number one, you got to prep yourself. Number two, you got to prep your team and your clients. And then finally, step number three, prep your business. So let's get into it. So, in step number one, let's talk about prep yourself. What does that mean? So, to me, it's all about prepping you as the CEO to go on vacation. A lot of it is self talk, a lot of it is mindset work. And we're going to walk you through what it's like. And at least for me, because I'll just use myself as an example, to prep yourself to go on vacation. So I often ask my clients, what do you need to happen in your business so that you feel amazing and confident going away? So some examples could be, I want to make sure that all my clients are taken care of. Or I want to make sure that while I'm gone, I can actually come back and not fear turning on my phone or opening Slack or whatever our messaging app and just seeing that it's absolute chaos and that I feel like I'm never going to catch up. So, whatever it is, I want you to set some boundaries for yourself to figure out what is it that you need to happen in your business so you feel good going away. So, Mekaila, what are some of the things after, working with Business Laid Bare? What are some of the things that you think are important to CEOs that they need to think about when they prep themselves to take a vacation?
Well, I think the biggest thing is if you're going to do the work once, you might as well record it. Because if you need to send it to one of your team members, then you know that they can go back to it time and time again if they need it. So I think even though it takes a little bit of work, it does take work to create ease. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always about like doing the work up front and like recording or reaping the benefits later. So what would I need to go on vacation? So let's workshop this. Like I want to make sure that you can do what you need to do without like fearing that you're doing it wrong. Like, and you don't trust me, you don't really do anything wrong. Like, I'm just being totally candid with you, right? But it's just like these are thoughts that I have all the time. Like, I always want to set my team up for success, whether it's you or our operations strategist, Terry. Like, I want to make sure that you both feel confident, like, and empowered to do what you need to do without constantly having to go, is this right, Veronica? Right? So, that's something that's important to me.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I love the most is knowing what's coming. And you do that so well. And I know for a fact that if I have any questions, that our communication as a team, I know that I don't necessarily always have to come to you because I can either find it in our own knowledge base or I can ask Terry. And I think the best thing is when you go on vacation is knowing what is going to happen while you're away. So we can get our questions out of the way before they happen.
I love it. So you're kind of teasing a lot of the things that we're going to talk about in prepping your clients and team, but I love that you're thinking about the pre-plan. I love that you want to feel independent because there's nothing like I can only imagine being in your position and even in if I was like working for somebody else, like I wouldn't want to be constantly looking over my shoulder. Like that doesn't instill any confidence or empowerment to anybody. So I always like to tell myself and to my clients, like, imagine if you had no Wi Fi or cell reception for 10 days. Like, you couldn't, if I couldn't communicate with you, if I couldn't communicate with our clients, if I couldn't communicate with Terry or anybody else or my friends because I'm on this remote, like, tropical island, like, what is it that I need to happen? Like, what is it going to take for me to feel confident? So for me, I and I'm just like brainstorming out loud. Like, if I was to take my next vacation and be like radio silent for you and Terry and Business Laid Bare, I would want to make sure that our clients are taken care of. That means that if I want my clients to be taken care of well, I need to pre-plan. Like pretty much everything about this episode is plan, plan, plan. Because as Benjamin Franklin said, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail or something like that. And I'm like, I take that to heart because it's like, I want to make sure that I can plug all the holes where I can. So I want our clients taken care of. I want to make sure that our marketing initiatives are taken care of. Like, whatever it is we're doing to be visible and to call in our ideal clients, I want to make sure that that happens without me. I want Business Laid Bare to run without me. I want it to be there to run while I'm like radio silent. I want things to move along and that I don't want to be the bottleneck. So, like, these are all the things in which I'm doing to prep myself. Like, I'm asking myself these questions, having this conversation so that I then know how to then have them with you in the next section.
So, especially because just because you're away doesn't mean that business should stop, especially with bringing new business in. So, just because you're away doesn't mean that we can't still onboard clients while you're away. And I think that's really important because a lot of businesses think that because, or the boss, they think that just because they're away means that business needs to completely stop. Doesn't need to.
And we've had some experiences where we've chatted with some clients where they're like, if I want to get married and go on a honeymoon, or I want to take a month long sabbatical, like I'm thinking about like shutting the business down for a little bit. And I'm like, but you don't have to. You absolutely don't have to. And I think it's because when you're in this rapid stage of growth, this is like, I mean, this is the realm that at least we play in business like Bear, where like our clients are like like creating exponential growth, and their operations maybe weren't there yet in terms of supporting them, which is why they reach out to us. But it's just like you're going from this place of doing everything yourself to suddenly relying on other people. And so the natural instinct is to say, okay, if I'm going to be gone for like 10 days, then nothing's going to happen because I'm not going to work on my business. So it's almost like we have to reteach that there are people that you can depend on. I can depend on you. I can depend on Terry. And I'm fully like confident that as long as we plan, things are going to go great.
Yeah, and especially being open minded in your tasks as a CEO. When you look at something, you go, "Well, I have to do this. This has to be done by me." But you've discovered yourself that there are things that I can take on and take off of your plate. And so sometimes I think just having the courage to delegate is huge.
Oh, that's so good. And that is so me because like we would go over like our weekly to-dos and priorities in our meetings. And I'm like, I gotta do this, 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 and this. And constantly you're like, I can actually do that or take that off your plate. So maybe as an exercise in preparing yourself, it's like, what are all the tasks that you are usually in charge of? And are those tasks, so like if you write them down, can they be pushed out to when you come back from your vacation? Or do they have to be done? Or, as you said, Mekaila, like, can it be delegated to somebody? So, by auditing what you actually do, it allows you to plan ahead and say, like, if things have to be done by me, can they be done after I come back? Or if they need to be done before I leave, how do I work that into my schedule so that I am not burnt out or like stressed by the time I go on vacation? Because you have to do other things too in your business. And I think an important thing also is to set like good vacation boundaries. Like, I will be the first to admit that I actually do enjoy working on the business when I'm on vacation because it's almost like I'm relaxing and I'm doing the things that I want to do. And then all of a sudden, like ideas come up.
Yeah.
That
And that's
happens all the
because you're
time.
giving yourself the freedom to actually think about your growth instead of thinking about all the nitty gritty things that you have to get done in a day. You finally get that freedom to explore all those thoughts that you've had in your mind while you're doing your business.
I love it. So, in the section of prep yourself, I want you to also set like boundaries as to what you do and don't want to do while on vacation. Like, is it okay to check email once a day? Like, you have to do what you have to do. Like, I don't want you to feel bad if you check your email on vacation because I think that we have this like weird relationship with rest in at least our culture. Because, Mekaila, you live in Canada, so maybe you can speak to this. But in America, we're all about doing more, staying busy. Like, being busy is like a badge of honor, and it shouldn't be that way. And like, resting is not as celebrated as much as it should be. So it's like, I get it. And sometimes you might feel inspired to work. So set boundaries like, are you okay checking email once a day, maybe to start off with? Or I only want to work on my business if it pertains to me looking ahead, creating strategy, feeling inspired to like write copy or blog posts. And then Terry said that in all caps when we asked her for her opinion for some of the some of the things that we should be mindful of. She actually said, "Turn off all notifications
Yeah.
on your phone," in all caps.
Yeah. Set yourself to away on all of your items so that people know that you are away.
So, after you set yourself some boundaries and you prep yourself, the next thing that you want to do, step 2, is prep your team and your clients. Again, we're still gathering information in a way because prepping yourself and prepping your team and your clients, you're almost trying to create a catalog or a list of things that need to happen or maybe not happen. And again, this is all information. There's no action taken at the moment. You're just writing things down. And so, what do we need to do when we prep our team and our clients? Like, I'm going to start with our clients actually, because this is going to be a fun conversation. I always talk about vacations with our clients, like, especially when we first meet them, like setting boundaries. We're constantly talking about like what we're going to do for our clients, sure. But like, what's really cool is that we get to also talk about what we're not going to do and when we're going to take vacations so that we are making sure we're not burning out. And a part of what we're not going to do in vacations is like what are your expectations of us as business laid bare when it comes to vacation? Like how soon in advance should we tell you? And can this be baked into like our scope of work timeline if we are implementing their operations and systems for them, right? So making conversations about rest has become a commonplace thing for us, and I love it.
Yeah, like our communication is very open. And I think that's very important for any business and their team. And also, I love that when we create our time frames, they're not extremely tight. So if somebody does have something come up, it doesn't necessarily completely derail all of our work that we need to do. So allowing space is something that you do really well, Veronica.
Thank you. And even if your business may not be 100% client facing, or that maybe you as a CEO have taken yourself out of the client facing work, applying these frameworks of preparing and preparation in all the aspects that you feel that are important is invaluable. Like communicate your expectations. So like if I was to go on vacation, I would want to tell you and Terry like what I kind of like would expect. Like if I'm going on vacation, it means that yes, I have as much knowledge. I don't have as much knowledge to give you while I'm there because I'm away. So what is it that you expect from me? And not just me, like not just from me to you. Like I also have like I want you and Terry to feel empowered to be like we expect you to help us do our work better by giving us the information that we need to do our jobs. And I'm okay with that. And I also love communicating my expectations like to you like okay, if I'm going to be gone, it's okay. Don't feel like you have to take on this herculean effort of making sure that the business runs. If we have like a launch coming up or if we have a webinar coming up, I'm okay if we move it until I get back so that we're all present and we can all deal with it together.
Yeah. And you do that by building in that flexibility too, which is really nice.
That's because I'm a project manager, like at heart. Seriously, baking in time for rest and generosity is like something that I feel like needs to be done more. Like a lot of people are very ambitious. I mean, ourselves included, but if you don't bake in that time for freak accidents or things that could go wrong or just like that we are human, you're going to get burnt out. So I think like continually like keeping in mind your humanity when it comes to creating preparation plans for your business, like taking a vacation is important. And one thing that I love when I'm prepping our clients to help them go on vacation or for myself is like I love setting baselines and wins for the team while I'm away. So, like, my favorite example is we worked with the Facebook ads marketing agency. And even though the CEO was just going to take like 3 days away to go to social media marketing world to network, I was like, I want you to be fully present, 100% there. And even though you're not here to like help your team like tweak the Facebook ads or make sure that the audience is right or all those like number stuff that I don't understand whatsoever, what is like a good baseline that your team can try to hit while you're gone and not having to do the final say in terms of like the creative set and the number setup? And she gave a number, she wrote them down, and she communicated it with her clients and to her team, and everybody was like okay with it. Like our clients like, yeah, you've been hitting these amazing numbers, so like it's not like lowering it a little bit is going to make a big deal. So she was able to write that down clearly just so that again the team felt confident and successful.
It's almost like having a blackboard of a checklist of get these things done and you're successful.
So like if I was to go away for the next week, let's just say that I'm planning a vacation at the end of the month and it's the top of the month. What would you need from me to feel successful in your job?
um, I always love knowing all the items on my list. You know me. I go into ClickUp and I add everything has like 15 subtasks. So if I had all my tasks assigned to me, I would make sure that I had all my questions answered and then I would put them as subtasks. So I think everybody's a little bit different. Like Terry, she goes, this is one giant task and she just goes done. Whereas I go, here is my tiny task and all my other tiny tasks within that task. So for me, I do feel successful after I click off all of those subtasks. So for me, knowing my big tasks and then making sure that I ask all the questions that I need from you before you go. So I think setting your team up for success really means knowing what we're in for while you're away. So that's
I love that.
my
So
biggest thing.
part of that exercise is like I have to actually know my team, right? I have to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, how you work, how you thrive, and even your working style.
Maybe I might ask a little bit more questions than Terry does, but um, knowing that I can ask you without any fear or judgment is really important too.
But I also love that before you ask me like a question about something, you're like, I have tried XYZ, or I thought maybe this would be the right answer. Can you double check? And I'm like, yeah, you're spot on. Or I would choose X over Y because of this. And then it helps you understand like my logic so that the next time something similar comes up, like you can lean on that and understand like why it is that I make the decisions I do. But what you said earlier really like just gave me an idea about prepping your team and your clients, especially your team. Like it would be a great exercise to ask each team member what they needed from me before I went on vacation. And I feels like sometimes this might be like a really crazy exercise, like prepping yourself to go on vacation takes so much work, but in a way it's allowing you to do this work like once, and then you get to go on vacation over and over again, and over time by prepping your business for continual vacations, it's like by default your entire business is vacation proofed all the time. And that maybe instead of doing like a 2-month runway of I'm going on vacation in 2 months, maybe it's a win is I'm going to go on vacation next week. And all of the work that you did allows you to just cut that prep time down by like a month or two.
Yeah,
And that's a
absolutely.
huge win.
It is. And even like you had mentioned, if you know that you're going to be going on vacation next week, if you were to say to me, Mekaila, you have X, Y, and Z to get done during that week, what do you need from me before I go? And then that means you've pretty much delegated that responsibility of asking those questions to your team members, right? So if I didn't get all of my questions answered, then that makes me realize that for next time, I need to obviously get more in depth information before you go. But it's not going to necessarily stop the work.
I love that. And like I would say for us so far, 100% of the time, so we have a 100% track record on this. Like if we want to go on vacation or we want to talk about taking time away and that we're not just always working on our clients' work, like, and we just have those conversations, and like they've always said yes. And I would say that it's a testament to the type of clients that we work with as well, who understand that we are humans as well. And so whether that's baked into the timeline or whether we do work ahead of time or whether we front load some work, and of course not, we're not only doing work for our clients, like our clients have homework that they have to do too, because unfortunately we can't read their mind yet.
Yeah.
So it's like they're okay front loading it if it means that we can take a vacation and to rest and to recharge. So I love that. And if your clients are not okay with you going on vacation or give you some like sour response, you know that those are not the clients for you. So it's almost like talking about vacations and rest so much is a filter to call in the clients that embrace this ideology and practice and to repel the ones that don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, even if we go back to that prep yourself as a CEO, it is very much related to that ideal client, right? So you want to make sure that you align with your clients as well. It's a way of prepping, I guess.
This part is all about taking action, which you are amazing at. Like Mekaila didn't tell you all, but when she does those like extra subtasks for herself, like you told me, and I quote, I get a high from checking things off.
I do. Each time I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So maybe this would be a great part for you to chime in as to how we could take the stuff that we've talked about above and how this gets turned into action. So let's talk about maybe some creating some standard operating procedures or SOPs, because we know SOPs make us so horny at this business and it should make everybody's business amazing. And you should all be horny for SOPs. But it's just like, what now? Like, after we get that information from me and from the team, like, if I was to delegate to you to create process and SOPs for making sure that things that actually get done, like, what would you go do? Like, so you're saying like the guide to going on vacation?
Yeah, I think it needs to be done. Like it is work, yes, but my gosh, does it create ease time and time again? Like I very much believe in the fact that if you put hard work in the first time and you reuse it over and over again, it makes it just like a pot of gold, right? It's just the best thing that you can possibly do. It's when you do something over and over and over again, that's that's way harder work than
I
doing the
love
hard
it.
work the first time.
So, what I would probably task you to do at this point of prep your biz, because you actually have to take action now, is I'd be like, based on all the things that we talked about, I need you to create an SOP for this action because it will help you. Or I need to create an SOP, or maybe I need to create a checklist that you can follow. Like, essentially, taking the things that we say and turning them into actual documents is a process. Like, you can do everything over and over again. That's just a habit. But when you document that habit, it becomes a process. So when you document, when you talk about all the things that we need, you just need to write it down somewhere. And it could be a checklist, a bulleted list, or a video so that somebody like Mekaila can take your Loom videos that I make and she screen caps the images and then turns it into a written document so that if people are more inclined to read, they can read them. Or if they're more inclined to watch the video, they can just watch the video.
Yeah, just a simple video of the process can help anybody. And then if you wanted to send that to, if you have an assistant to create an SOP from that, then they can do that as well. Or create the checklist to go with the video so that when you're following along, you're checking off those steps and making sure that you're doing it properly.
And then we're looking at like little tech things here and there, like make yourself unavailable in your scheduler. Make sure that nobody can schedule a meeting with you while you're on vacation. Make sure that your autoresponders are on if that's what you do. Hey, I'm out of the office for the week of this time on vacation or whatever it is, so that they know that you'll get back to them when they do. Don't feel like you just have to constantly be at the beck and call of somebody, especially if they're a stranger who's like not yet paid you yet, right?
Yeah. And being specific in those emails doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be personal. So if you're going to be out of the office, sometimes that explanation in itself is sufficient. You don't need to necessarily explain yourself. I find like a lot of people put the effort into explaining themselves where remember that you're going on vacation to feel good. So you shouldn't need to have a need to explain in a way that you're saying sorry because creating, you know, that culture in business is important, right? To take time for yourself and relax and restore and all that good stuff.
So, what would be like a great takeaway for somebody, whether you are the CEO listening or you're not the CEO listening and you're helping the business like take action and make itself vacation proofed? Like, what is a piece of advice that you can impart on them that they can take away and like take action on?
I think giving your team a set list of things that you'd like them to do, so your expectations, but also realizing that you have certain priorities that may need to get done. And if you do have certain priorities that are required each week, then make sure that you have those processes set up for your team so that they can take them for you and have the confidence to delegate that to them. I think those are would be my things.
I mean, and they're like small things. It doesn't have to be crazy. It can
No.
be something small to help your team succeed while you are away, that it is not all on you anymore to carry this giant boulder that is your business and your business mission and everything that goes on with it. It's like you have help now. Lean on your team members. They want to see you succeed because the more you recharge and the more you take care of yourself, the better it is that you can take care of your team, your clients, your business, and the people that have not yet purchased from you. So create those SOPs, write those checklists, put them somewhere. We like to call it our knowledge base, the Wikipedia of your business, so that it can be easily referenced by people so that they can do their job and they can do it well and consistently. So, creating SOPs, creating autoresponders, taking the action to move meetings, turning off your autoresponders, these are like things that will help you be present. And also just sending email reminders to your clients that, hey, I am going to be gone. Like these are actions, like things that you can do proactively so that your vacation time can be respected.
Yeah, and if you have a scheduler, make sure you go in there and block off your time as well.
Because I
Sometimes
forget
that
to.
doesn't happen.
One of these days, I'm just gonna be like, I forgot. So please help me. But I mean, I'm not perfect. So we're constantly like refining our process. Like going on vacation is something that I look forward to so much. I used to get so much anxiety over going on vacation, but now like we have a process and it's not perfect because we're always looking to make it more orgasmic. Like continuous improvement is so under talked about and so undervalued. It's like operations as a whole is an iterative process. And so if going on vacation wasn't 100% the best, it's like you can do a debrief and go, how can we make it better next time? And then upgrade and update your SOP guides for how this business takes vacations or how to help the CEO take a vacation and be fully present in what they need to be. Three things to focus on, three areas of your business to focus on so that you can take a vacation with confidence.
Yeah, and when you come back from vacation, if things didn't go as smoothly as you planned, it's just a learning process for you.
Yeah, I liked I'm still learning that. Like to be honest, I constantly am like if I failed at something, I need to be better about not like taking it so harshly because at the end of the day, honestly not we're not here to save lives in the sense like we're not rocket scientists, we're not surgeons, we're not doctors. It's like if things can go 100% as planned, like no one's life should be
Because we're human.
endangered.
Yeah.
And that too. So we acknowledge that we're always looking to better our process, but if there's anything that we can help like drop from our wealth of systems or tech tips or whatever it is to help you go on that vacation, we'd be more than happy to. So, hopefully, this episode allowed you to pull out some nuggets that you can apply to you and your business and your team and your clients so that the next time you go on vacation, it's going to be like an amazing vacation that you can just be fully present in.